Yeah, so these days I'm deeply questioning what it means to show up where one of the core needs and requirements of being human around your purpose, where that puts me, where that sets me. And so essentially what I'm alluding to is the fact that I 100% feel that I'm going through another layer of death, another identity shift. And I kind of just wanted to come on, and this is usually the case, is just pressing, just coming on and seeing what happens, because it's like there's a part of me that is intrigued and curious as to what is going to come out, because essentially part of this dissolution we're experiencing at the moment means that there's no more scripting. And not that I've really been that type of person to, let's say, script, but there has been planning. There are ideas. The ideas are linked to a strategy. The strategy is linked to an objective. The objective is linked to some sort of, let's say, service offering. The service offering is there to provide a client with a solution. And where I'm at the moment is very much the space of total surrender, total curiosity in terms of what may transpire when I come online. And coming online seems to feel like one of the ways in which I can show up, and seems to feel like it is in alignment with my purpose. Now, I guess I would come to the space of going, what is my purpose? What am I calling myself these days? And I've kind of got my book here. I'm just going to jump from place to space. Essentially, I just want to be as authentic as possible. I want to speak from the space of natural rhythm. I don't want to dictate an outcome. I just want to speak from my experience. And so, what is my identity now? What is the structure I'm holding? And part of the dissolution I'm going through at the moment is having a relook, a review, a rehash of my abandonment wounding. And this is a theme that came up in about June, end of May, June. So June, July was a deep 2 months, but this was very much of a cosmic element to the abandonment wound. So I was deep down the rabbit hole with regards to looking at AI and really questioning what God was or is, and questioning the human biological system, questioning, or deeper questioning. It's not that I hadn't had these thoughts before, but deeper questioning around simulation theory. So if this is a simulation, then what am I? Am I, what percentage of me holds human angelic potential, or am I a completely disrupted and genetically modified being that perceives herself as biological but is actually just a sim within a sim, right? And so the abandonment wound at that time was very much about this cosmic aspect and moving into deep aspects around anger, with regards to patriarchy, with regards to the system, moving through these layers of just really seeing with such clarity, like, are we gonna are we gonna keep, are we gonna keep looping? Are we going to keep cycling around these topics, these stories? Are we going to keep exhausting ourselves and needing to work to prove ourselves, to prove our worth, when we know that God and Source is everything? It is in every part of this reality structure and in every part of the design, whether you struggle to believe that or not, or struggle to identify or struggle to perceive that or not. It is so. Source is everything. God is everything. It's absolutely everything. So, this was this abandonment wound around and feeling this intense anger around the feminine Christ being completely obliterated and eradicated, and where we're playing this game on the hamster wheel of life. We just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, just keep dopamine fixing, just keep keep that motivation high. We've run out of inspiration because we're so fucking tired, and we don't actually have time to disconnect from an overstimulated body, mind, and soul, that we're just in an automated mode now. And I don't feel like that's feminine at all. And so in my now moments, it's like, what is my ID now? What is the structure I'm working with? Because the structure simultaneously keeps me safe, right? And I speak about this often. And what I wrote down the other day was abandoned feminine. This is the identity that I'm moving through at the moment, but or that I'm holding at the moment, is this abandoned feminine. But bearing in mind that we bring in the law of polarity alongside, if you are going to do the work to, which I believe that I'm finally ready to do fully, and I pray to the counsels of my higher self. I pray to God to move through this wounding with grace, and to kind of move through this commitment phase, to feel the pain, to really feel the pain and the hurt. And I have been going through it, but I really want to get to the bottom of it now, and I might share something that's very vulnerable for me, or I might not. We'll see how much bravery and courage I have, because when we're healing something, we've got to inevitably let go of something. So, I'm in this deep process of letting go and diving into the feeling body, and really feeling the pain of the times that I have abandoned myself, of looking at the memories of each and every decision I've made in the review, within the review, of times where my voice has shut down, my soul has intuited something else, has required something else, my body has required something else, or would rather have rejected something, but my boundaries were weak, my decision making was poor, I was people pleasing, I was being manipulated, there were empathic knock, relationship dynamics happening, all of it. And so these memories at the moment for me are really flooding in, and essentially I could say I'm in the wound. I'm in it now. I'm finally in it. And it's really interesting, because within spirituality we would say, okay, great, we're here to heal the wounds, but dare you be in the wound, then at any point in time you could be identified as, oh gosh, she's just the wounded healer right now. And so this also brings into consideration this aspect around compassion. can we be compassionate, and can we hold each other through all of the identity layers, no matter how long it takes? And can we do that with grace, with a loving flame in our hearts, a conscious flame of recognition that within the eternal nature of reality, we are merely moving through these like little specks of let's say conscious living and conscious feeling, because we forget so many times in a day, we forget so many times that we are pure source, that actually, and this is a bit of a mind fuck that I'm going through at the moment, which is why the identities are dropping. It's like that actually there is nothing else other than me. And that's not to make that statement as an egoic statement of there ain't nothing out there other than me. No, it's not about that, but it's about really understanding the projected holographic reality in its sophistication and its unique design, and how the we, so the collective we, has created it, consented to it, designed it, acquiesced to remembering that we designed it, forgotten that we've designed it. The we, the entirety, all of us, every single one of us. And so when you're, let's say, in exploration of the God body of your being, and how I describe that, it's going to be different for everybody, right? How I describe that is this notion or feeling of being connected to everything. For me right now, particularly within the, let's say, the time matrix that Earth is in, that this planetary body is in, and seeing the design in its full effect. So this I said that this is what the God body means for me at the moment, and it's very interesting because I also simultaneously feel quite disconnected. So which again is a complete paradoxical statement. I'm saying I feel connected to everything, but I also feel disconnected. And the disconnect comes from the space of stepping into, let's say, maturity or adulthood, where the childlike ideology of how things are starts to drop away. So there's this like mystical and magical essence that is really, really fading for me within my interpretation of the design and the structure of our reality construct. As fascinating as it is in its majesty and sophistication, I've used this word before, as fascinating as it is, it feels like it's lacking magic for me. And perhaps that is because I'm in the wound, right? And also because the nature of my understanding of how things work as just the one, as it's all my projection, it's all my creation. I am part of a collective, creative interface, and perhaps it doesn't feel magic because there are very few within the interface. So let's say there's nodes within the interface, kind of like a computer program or a network, right? I don't want to really use the word hive, but we could. Again, everything is based on your perception. Are we in a hive mind? Are we together? Does unity consciousness essentially mean that inevitably we're in a hive mind? There's actually a Rick and Morty episode around this that's very, very interesting. So it's like, do we lose individuality when we reach unity? And I don't think this is actually the objective. I think we are meant to reach unity within, let's say, a group, right? Within the diversity, let's say that, rather than the word group or hive. We're supposed to maintain some sort of individuality within the diversity, but come into unity through sets of values, right? This morning it was very interesting. One of my, let's say, an old acquaintance, I looked at a Facebook post this morning, and it was really, really, you know, when you're kind of watching a post and you're just like, whoa, that's something that's creating a bit of conflict for me. And it felt to me, so my individual interpretation and opinion, right? We're still allowed to have those. I hope you know. Opinion was like, you're falling a bit short here with regards to the actual messaging. So essentially it was two videos showing, let's say, the perspective of destruction, so chaos and peace. But the peace was presented under the banner of religious, righteous, and ideological peace through religion. And the other, we don't know, this is just a video on the internet, was showing destruction, school children really just blowing shit up, you know, unruly behavior, like awful behavior for children at a school. And the kind of communicated message was, we really need to bring God back into the schools. And the other video was, you know, this group of children. It was very, very dystopian as well. So as much as they look like angelic children, they were all facing the same way. It looked very mimicked and robotic. And so yes, it's showing this peaceful state. And they're obviously saying a prayer in a different language. But again, they're all faced the same way. It was very, very interesting. And it was like, how do you know that the school that's going through, you know, this video clip of the school making the destruction, how do you know that they are not a school that embodies some sort of set of values or religion? Obviously, they're failing. Perhaps they're failing to institute that. But my point of bringing this up is that it's about a set of values. It's about a set of values. That's the only way we can come and to embodiment of love, which is the embodiment of God, which is the unified field holding itself accountable to witness diversity within its projected field, is through a set of values. Are we not there yet from, you know, and please know, let me be careful here, hold on. Yeah, I think I want to confidently say it. Are we not there yet where we can see how much division and war and distraction formalized religion has brought our planet? Are we not there yet? And again, I have so much compassion in my heart to say, to understand why people are still in these structures, because I understand how mind control works. I see the program. I I'm seeing how the system works. And this is why I say I feel that there is this missing element of magic, because it just, and I spoke about these few nodules, these few nodes within the diversity that are maybe holding magic, but it just feels quite hopeless, and these deep levels of despair right now, because, you know, let's say we have this whole network, like a mycelial network, and it's just these little bright nodules here and there, and just here and there, but it's not this like, I mean, that's happening, but that representation is war, fragmentation, separation, righteousness, fighting. You know, that's this hype, this buzz, like fear porn, rah, woo. I mean, that's what's vibrating. But the magic of individual souls who are wading through all of that to find their little spark of sovereignty, individuality, creativity, motivation, inspiration, to swim against a current, an ocean of agendas and control systems that just are not suitable to the way that these souls wish to live and lead their lives, under the scrutiny of the media and algorithms and the perceptions of everybody else out there. And you know, so it feels like you're just swimming in the sea of destruction, and these tiny little nodules of magic around, but it's just you're not even meeting each other, because you're here, you're there, you're there, you're there. We're only meeting online in these ways, which again, we can say amazing, but it can also feel very restricting. It can begin to feel very fake. And this is why I also just kind of press record, see what comes, and sit with it. It's okay, because I'm living in a very, very isolated space right now, and this is my ways and means to participate, to communicate, to express, to practice authentic expression, to practice speaking my truth without the preparation and strategic aspects, to come and speak authentically without the fear, or at least an observation of what's happening to my nervous system at any point in time. On top of this all, knowing that most people, 99.9% of people, not that I want to create that into the holographic, template there. So let me say it is my, hold on, I want to see what magic I can create here. Speaking of magic, I don't want to be all doom and gloom. So let's say I'm aware that in there's a high percentage of people that may not ever even get to the 5-minute mark of this video. I mean, the statistics of people watching videos, and it blows my mind, because one of my, so let me finish that sentence. It blows my mind because, you know, this engagement for me keeps me going. It's a lifeline for me. It's like I'm saying, it's part of my purpose to come on and share. And when I don't receive the reciprocation of seeing that people are actually going through an entire video, and I know why, because we're dopamine fixing, because we're mind controlled, because we've been programmed to, because we've got total attention deficit disorder. We are tired, we are exhausted, we are selfish, we are not very conscious. We're mind wiped. We've forgotten day in and day out, day in and day out. And so I'm not surprised. And that lack of participation within this this creation can bring me to a space of just nihilism, where I'm like, oh, well, then what am I doing? And when I'm not in nihilism and I'm not in gaslighting, I still ask myself, so what am I doing? And so again, what is my identity? So I would say, okay, cool, I have identified with abandoned feminine. I'll come back to that abandonment wound aspect, because I spoke about it having been very much about this cosmic part of like, okay, so now we're in a simulation. So where and who the fuck is God? Do we have a masculine, where is the feminine? Everything feels very binary, bleep, bloop, bleep, bloop, bleep. Everything feels very constructed, and where is the feminine? What does that look like? What does it feel like? And the wound I'm dealing with now is far more on a personal level, through my actual living trauma. Yeah, and I mean, I could say to myself, am I still in the identity of teacher, like, let's say, ascension guide? What is that even? How does this video, how do any of the videos that I've been putting out there assist? We're no longer, other than embodiment techniques, which I think this is what it's all going to come down to. Not, I think I know, because I'm going through it. The only thing to look after is the nervous system. The only thing to really read is the nervous system. And it's interesting, because we're always kind of moving through this externalized process of needing to receive data, keep up to date, watching this podcast, watching our favorite this. And I don't know if people actually watch a full podcast or something. Do you have to have 1 million views in order to be watched the full way through? Am I in some sort of delusional reality where I perceive my content to be just as good as XYZ's, yet I'm only getting 3-second click-through rates or whatever it is? Like, am I in a delusion? Or do I have just so much trust that, with God, that this is in perfection, in absolute perfection, with my soul, within my soul trajectory, and that's it. That it doesn't matter if any one person observes it or not. The record of this is being created into the reality construct in the now moment, and now, and now, and now. And what is that record? That record is, one, is self-worth, right? To feel worthy enough on this planetary system, in this game, to actually post something, whether I know and won't have any empirical evidence for this, or whether I perceive, or whether it is fact or fiction or whatever it is, that I feel like I am bringing some sort of worth by creating these videos, right? What else is being uploaded or downloaded into the data bank is a frequency of bravery and courage. What else is being uploaded to the data bank is a frequency of authenticity. What else is being uploaded to the data bank? This frequency of truth. I think these are good things to add to the records, because I'm not here to do anything other than have a conversation about what I'm experiencing, how I think, how I perceive, what is dismantling, what the level of pain is, what the levels of loneliness are, what the depths of shadow are, what the mirrors are reflecting back at me in my own personal holographic field, how the outside acquisition of anything has become a silly game for me, and other than perhaps the acquisition is not the right word, but let's just use it in this template, the acquisition of a loving, kind, high level relationship, right? That's one thing I do want. I do want that. Everything else kind of feels like it's falling by the wayside. I'm questioning how I like to show up, what I like to do. It's a bit of a tough space for me at the moment because there's a season shift, and I'm very much a sun girl, and there's recognition that I just could very much read books in the sun all day, because there's this understanding within me that I am eternal. I don't even feel, it feels to me, and so this is just bringing back that interpretation of this God body. I said connected to all. I'll speak about the disconnect just now. Well, the disconnect was this like, there's only me, so there's no magic anymore. There's nothing outside of me. So obviously I have to wire myself to its own magic, my own magical code again. But like I said, I'm deep in the wound right now, and the wound doesn't feel magical. Let me just share that with you. The wound is hard. The wound is confronting. The wound is oh gosh, I've learned that it's vulnerable for me to say, but even at my age, oh God, my toes are crunching, there's tears coming. I'm like embarrassed to say this, but that's the whole point of the wound, right? It's not to embarrass you, but it's to come to terms with truth, right? What I was going to say was, I realize how I've still been acting like a child in some aspects of my life. And I mentioned that this makes me feel embarrassed. Makes me feel embarrassed. And of course, I need to move through that embarrassment, because the embarrassment would speak to aspects of shame. And shame and guilt doesn't help anything. It's okay to acknowledge, to see it as such, and then it needs to integrate. So this is the process I'm in and on at the moment. I diverted there a little bit. Let me see where I was. Give me a sec. Yeah, speaking about the size of the God body, right? And speaking to this, the eternal nature of my being. It's like, for me, I don't really feel like there is don't feel like there's a beginning and an end. So let's more speak to an end when there is a death process. So death meaning the physical body. So I'm going through a metaphysical death right now, an energetic death, another layer of ego death, etc. But or ego delayering, let's rather say that, because it's all just energy. It's not really dying, it's just moving, it's being shoved. You know, but when the physical body drops, I really don't perceive, let's say, like a newness in another reality, because for me, I'm perceiving everything as one. I'm also fully aware that, and as I've alluded to in the beginning of this video, that my perception at this moment can only compute with regards to what I'm referring to as this time matrix, this planetary body within its time matrix. And what sets me free from this idea that there is another place or whatever is just the sheer magnitude and size of the whole. The sheer magnitude and size of the whole is like, I just don't feel like moving into a dropping of the physical body for me this time round would move through the inducing of amnesia again, because there's just so much out there within the one and the whole that it feels like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and within that is why I'm like, oh well, could I just spend an entire summer reading books in the sun? Because to engage in the game rules, and this is where I have to look very, very carefully at what I just mentioned. I've been childish. Am I still in a deep abandonment wound from inner child, right? That doesn't like authority, doesn't like to stick to the rules, doesn't like any of that, as identified as the starseed, identified as the shaman, identified as the medicine woman, identified as I'm here, but I'm not from here, right? And so I'm going to play in these upper realms forever and ever, even though my work has been very grounded. You know, when I did a high dose medicine journey with a dear sister of mine, you know, I mean, for me, I was like, whew, this is insane. And she was like, wow, you are very, very grounded. I'm like, I've heard that before. The point is still like, you know, my world, the magic that I constructed for myself based on my wounding from the abandonment of not really feeling like this is a system I want to engage in, therefore and thereby creating my job, my perfect job for myself, constructed to continue a potential escapism and simultaneously in alignment with my soul's wants, wills, needs, desires. You know, so all of it is there for a reason, created very specifically. So moving into medicine work, doing this, you know, illegal work where at a time in South Africa where it wasn't as big as it is now, it wasn't as big as it was in the world, you know, doing plant medicine work, etc., really being out there. You know, did I just design all of that because of my wounding? Because I don't want to grow up and I don't want to be in the system. And so I'm just escaping and bypassing the actual 3D reality and system. And this is, I think, this like stark realization that we as light workers are going to come to at a certain point in time is we're here in this tactile, dense place and space. And yes, if we create a beautiful harmonic, diligent, heartfelt, heart-led, nervous system regulated practice for ourselves, where we're doing a certain amount of work in quantum creation, right? So understanding that consciousness precedes structure, so really working on that level, and then also simultaneously having a nice balance of what are we doing in the 3D. Yeah, because I'm just exhausted of, I just don't want to be in a fight anymore. I want to continue to practice and be bewildered by a responsive and interactive reality system that I am confident, based on the clarity and vision that I hold, which I'm not really clear right now, right? Because I'm in, well, I guess I have clarity. Is my clarity right now is I want to heal this wound. There is a specific addiction program that I have that is intrinsically linked with this wound, and I want to clear it now. It is time. I don't want to abandon myself anymore. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to damage my body anymore. I want to do this for myself, not for, I want to do this to heal. I want to drop into the depths of my pain body and hold myself through the review process of watching each time I have abandoned myself, and to reunite with those soul aspects, and to cry and to feel, because I truly feel like until I do that, I don't feel that I am in my full power. I don't feel like I can be in my full clarity. And I require a level of clarity in order to engage with a system that isn't so too much to my liking, let's say, right? But clearly there is something to learn from it and through it, because I'm here, right? And so it's like, can I look at the abandonment? Can I look at the inner child wounding? Can I heal this addiction? Can I move past the shame and embarrassment of not being fully whole and complete, and simultaneously calling, well, I don't really call myself a healer, but people have come to me for healing. I mean, I've always stipulated, please understand, everybody, like, I've got my own shit. There's the human identity that's got her thing, and then there's the dragon that's able to hold XYZ space, and it's like you're moving through different quantum identities and roles at any point in time. But I think I've always kind of said to everybody that, you know, I'm also just Briggs. I'm also just Briggs, and she with all her flaws is important too. Each and every flaw, each and every unhealed part, each and every distortion, each and every dissociation or illusion is all part of it. And so I'm very much looking at my world and that which I've created, as I said. So it was like this business venture, like starting my business. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew that I wanted to start a spiritual business. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't, you know, I didn't have any healing modalities. I didn't have any certifications. It was really more this flame. We would call that flame, that soul spark that knew that I wanted to do these things. And so again, it's so interesting how this design works, because I'm dealing with it at this point in time where you're like, wow, you start to learn about, you know, the metatronics, the distortions, the overlays, and you see that you've been in all of them. Yet each and every single one of them held such a perfectly timed lesson and meaning on your path prior to the death and birth process into a new part of your journey. And yet we kind of run and hide in this, oh gosh, and we put ourselves under pressure and say, oh gosh, you know, Jesus, I was in these distortions for so long, and you know, I may have harmed people, I may have led people down a false road. But if you look at how the code works and the entire how everything works from a morphogenetic perspective, from a frequency perspective, from a resonance perspective, from a coherence perspective, you were not alone in that. So it's like this 100th monkey effect. You were not alone in that. And you also, it was just a learning space, module, classroom, exam at a particular point in time, until you go into the integration of new shadow aspects. And so I'm looking at this kind of big thing now where I'm like, oh wow, like, even though I've loved running my company, my business, company sounds very 3D. I've loved running my business, my spiritual business. I've loved the entrepreneurial process. I've loved the empowerment, independence, and sovereignty and empowered states of being that have come from starting my own business, and a business that was not ever going to make me a lot of money, a business that was totally soul-led and soul-driven, a business that was cheeky from the perspective of not really having experience with what I was about to start to endeavor and do. So huge bravery behind that business, you know. A push in a timeline and an age in my life where everybody else, all my other friends, were rising to the next layers of success and financial freedom, whereas I was, you know, totally plummeting in that space based on this trust that I had to start something new and fresh at a certain age in my life, and not having the finances and the capacity to now go on holidays and do the cool things with friends and all of these things. So, you know, like, so that feels like all in alignment. But then I'm at this now space where I'm looking at the wound, right? And I'm like, did I 100% create this business from the wound? And And this is the majesty of creation. And the complexity of creation as well, because as God, so we have simplicity, we have majesty, we have complexity, but as God, we've got to know it is all. Sorry if I start crying, I'm feeling a lot of emotion coming up. We come to realize that it is all. So the business, the soul project, you know, my stepping into my own empowered path through my business 14 years ago, and this very rebellious, like, fuck it, I'm going to do it, this thing that took huge amounts of bravery to step out of. I was a huge go-getter in the corporate space, like moving through jobs, getting promotions, this, that, the next, higher salaries, etc., etc., dropping it all. And now 14 years later going, did I create this business from the wound? And many of you that have done work with me may be quite perplexed at what I'm saying now. And so just hold the space. I'll try and drop this in as gently as possible. And in order to do that, I'd have to speak about the wound, right? So I've mentioned the wound is really about abandonment. Feeling like every part of my reality construct has been very specifically designed for me to excel in absolute individualism, right? In absolute sovereignty, which is why sovereignty is one of my codes. But what I realize is that I've just had to do a little bit too much on my own. And, you know, there was recently this post on Instagram, and it was speaking to, you know, we speak to this high level of the sustainability, you know, personal self-sovereignty, agency, and sustainability, which these are good things, but we should be reaching that personal, individualized space of autonomy and healthy nervous system regulation within a group dynamic, as in we're all doing it together, we're coming together to speak about our experiences, but I've really just been doing it alone. And this is why I come online to speak about it. It's my only form of connection, really. Which may seem sad. Sorry, just heard a noise. Which may seem sad, but it is what it is. And I've often thought of this, you know, part of my business is that I've been such a, let's say, out there kind of personality, you know, someone very different, that I literally had to create a reality for myself where I could engage in human connection in a construct that suited me. So what suits me as an empathic identity, or right, an advanced soul, a cosmic being, a whatever it is you want to call me, what suits me is depth of emotion. What suits me is raw vulnerability. What suits me is truth. What suits me is the values. I don't want to sit and talk shit. I don't want to talk about shopping. I don't want to talk about the mundane Monday to Friday reality. I want to go in. And so what did I do? I created a reality construct for myself, quite brilliantly so, wisely so, but it came from the wound. The wound is I have no friends. I'm doing everything on my own. I feel completely disconnected from the communication and depth aspect of feeling people, because I'm playing this game of going out and drinking and and maybe hooking up with people, etc., but nothing is lasting, nothing is sticking, nothing holds longevity. Everyone is placing me in this category of fun-loving woman, but it's like I want to go deeper. And so what do? I create a business where I take people on the deepest experiences that they can go to in a one-night experience. I mean, our whole reality is deep. So this is where we start to have respect and reverence for that which is the entire story, right? It's not just one night of peak experience through plant medicine, but that's what I did. That's what I created. A construct where I can learn about the depths of human psyche, human emotions, the soul, and boy oh boy have I learned about all the traps. It's like a textbook written codex, it's like a codex. And I marvel at my own creation, but those of you who that was like a many years of many ceremonies, and then moving out of that identity and now going, okay, well, what am I now? All right, I'm an ascension guide, I'm a support system, and needing to let go of that magic that I used to feel of, like, I'm this important person, I'm a medicine woman, I'm a shaman, I am the bridge between worlds, I am holding sacred containers and sacred spaces, and I am shifting people's realities. How much control was in those experiences? There needed to be quite a lot of like that masculine structure in order to keep people safe, but I've just learned so much, how my structure was very masculine in the beginning, how it's very much changed into this feminine dynamic, how that leaves me in awe, because let's say the entrepreneurial process was very masculine. It's like, wow, I've got an idea, I'm going to do this, I'm so excited, and I've only got myself, there's no financial help coming along. Yes, I've got this course idea, we can go into Your Life, which is the big umbrella banner business, right? That's the main brand. We can go do Your Kids. We can do kids meditation, kids movement workshops, kids this. Your Mind. Okay, we're going to do mindset workshops, millionaire mindset workshops, money workshops, Your Mind, change your mindset, etc. Homegrown. Okay, beautiful. We're going to have the products. We're going to do all of the medicinal mushroom products, as well as microdosing products. Incredible, amazing. Then we're going to have Om Sweet Om, which will be the piece of land and the community and the retreat, and then all of these. Then of course we've got Your Soul, which is all the ceremonies that are going to happen. So we're using the homegrown products for the ceremonies. We've got the Om Sweet Om, which is the land. We can, and all of this. I mean, I've just sorry, I'm feeling emotional. It was all there, but I'm just one person. I'm just one person, and in the now moments, I'm barely managing to keep my Instagram alive. I like to converse in this way. For me to, like I've said, I like depth, longevity, a sustained timeline. I am not the person that you're going to learn from in a 1-minute clip that is manipulated and distorted and constructed. Why? To hook you in so that I can get more views. For what? The moment you're on Instagram, I watch it for myself. Watch it for yourself. Answer it honestly for yourself. The moment you're on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, I don't have TikTok, but I'm just saying, or even Facebook, ask what you're doing. Do you have a direct objective? I'm looking for the mechanic who lives in this area via this group page, this group community page. You may have that intention for 1 minute. Watch yourself. Within the next 30 seconds, you have veered off and through and around the metaverse that is the let's say Facebook for example's sake. But on Instagram, it's like, even if I make the perfectly constructed hook for a 1 minute reel, I mean, I don't know if it's just not meant to be in my reality field construct, but I don't know what the statistics are in terms of people buying products, right? Buying into services. And again, I'm not really particularly here for that anymore. I'm kind of over it. Do I still want to be of service? Yes. I believe this is a service. I don't know why. I don't know what makes it a service to you. I don't know if it is supportive to you. It feels supportive to me because it feels like it's deconstructing layers of reality, which is essentially what the, let's say, original function of the spiritual guide was or is to guide you through, let's say, the minefield of kryptonite that are potential egoic constructs, egregores, traps, and illusions within your reality. And I don't know if I'm just, so I mentioned earlier about feeling disconnected as well. And it's very interesting because I'm holding both polarized states of connection and feeling disconnected. And why do I feel disconnected is because I recognize that we are in a descension process. So we're not up in the higher worlds. And this is probably why I've also chosen to do less medicine work at the moment, because I think we've got enough to deal with. I think we really should be focusing on the integration of grief, which is why I'm committing to this wound healing, this personal wound healing of mine, why I am committing, I hope, to my addiction or addictions. Because this descension, it just feels like you're covered in dirt, right? It's like, it's not this ethereal, celestial feeling that I entered into this world. And by this world, I mean my spiritual path, my medicine work path, my business was very, let's say, coded in this angelic, celestial space, this very ancient space of, past civilizations and cultures. And as you begin to learn about time and space itself, these things just disappear, and you come to the stark realization again that it's all you, because there is only one. And that can be a bit of a complicated thing to digest, or something that you want to resist, because we don't want to deny the existence of the other. And this is not about denying it. In fact, what it requires is absolute respect and honor for the other in the creation, because now you realize they are you. It is you. So, and when everything is you, it can also become a very overwhelming space. So when you, like I said, when you in recognition that you are the everything, excuse me, that you are the everything, it's as if you're tapping into everything, you're feeling everything, you're perceiving everything from everybody, from every aspect, from all corners within the spiral. And it can get very loud. It can get very loud, and you don't want to, you're refining your process. You're in a refinement space and state. And so in the recognition of the one, you don't want to bring pain or suffering or hurt upon another. And so, but we need to bear in mind our communication skills are still not so great because we've got so many wounds. And so the addictions or the addictions will create cycles and patterns of coping mechanisms where you might be exhibiting extreme levels of, let's say, neutralized space, neutrality, and some level of mastery. But it's just a mask. It's just a mimic, because actually what you're doing is you're protecting yourself from feeling. Your heart is shut off. You're protecting yourself from feeling. And then we've got the projection aspect. So we, through the wounding, we want to project our reality, and and so we've not been great communicators, and so we can hurt each other, but we don't want to hurt each other because we're in recognition that we're all one. But there's still things, there's still charges, there's still energy that needs to shift within dynamics. And so we can't keep quiet, but we're afraid because we're afraid to hurt each other. And so we shut down. And we don't want to hurt the other because we are the other. But we've got to move through the energies. And like I said, it's all this one. I was alluding to my business being the most, let's say, fruitful and impactful time of my life, where I felt like I was stepping into my power. And now I look at it and I'm like, wow, it was created from your wound of abandonment, like creating your own fictitious world in order to satisfy your needs and requirements, and to do something so outlandish within my ancestral structure as to open up and start a business model that is running medicine events, which we know what sort of legal status that might fall under. I mean, that's, at the time, I know what my process was. I said, okay, are you willing to take to sit in the consequence of this decision should you have a negative feedback loop around this? And the answer was yes. So that's very brave. But if I look at the actions from the wounded part of me, it's like, wow, am I looking to get such a huge level of attention from my parents, even though I hid what I did for 4.5 years, that I'm going to pick the most outlandish thing to do, the thing that is going to just blow off the lid, like kind of like this attitude of, you just wait and see. You don't think that I can do blah, blah, blah. I'll show you what I can do. I can be rebellious. I can be this. I can be that. I can start something that nobody is doing. I can do it without training, and I can rise, and I can step into this power through this title, through this identity. You watch me do this thing, right? So, you know, this is the observation of my business in the now moment, and looking at how, to a degree, how siphonous the experience was. Let's say we could use the words like light exploitation. The exploitation, let's say, might be balanced out by the mushrooms doing what the mushrooms do. There's huge benefits, particularly in the physiological space with the neural pathway resets, and, you know, helping people with depression and anxiety and all these things. But let's speak to the exploitation aspect. Was that I was learning so much from people, and learning is good, right? Learning is great. Learning is the point. Learning is why we jump into experiences. But you know, at whose expense? At whose expense? And I'm not sharing this to beat myself up about what I've created. It's just, as you begin to look deeper into the design of the structure, particularly from the perspective of the victim-victimizer game code, you begin to decrypt. So it's like hieroglyphs, you know. You begin to decrypt every single action and the why behind it. From the wound, from the human identity, from the cosmic identity, from all of it. So it's like, you know, this warping of like, wow, I'm seeing it from this side, I'm seeing it from this side, I'm seeing it from this, I'm seeing it from this, I'm seeing it from this, I'm seeing it from all angles. And you know, and so in these moments we say, forgive me, because wow, I didn't even have realization of that. You can only come to realization at a certain level of maturity. And you know, I see a lot of this out there. And it's interesting because each of us, particularly those of us having held spiritual containers, spiritual-led business, heart-led businesses, each of us are in absolute belief that that which we have created and was from the purest space. But we don't know how, we haven't integrated the fullness of the wounds of creation just yet. The wounds of God, let's say, because we can perceive God as perfection. And when I say God, I mean as like, let's say, the digit 0, inertia, right? It's perfect whole, as whole. But it's also two total fractured replicas with little bits of data in order to experience itself. And you know, that gets weaved through our business structures. And this is why I've come to this point where I'm looking at Earth and the systems, and I'm tired, and I feel weird and bad for that we still exchange in money when we don't actually have a feeling the worth of things anymore. We don't have a value system that is in coherence with, let's say, with the divine right order, because, you know, what's valuable to someone, and I say divine right order from the perspective of highest timeline or highest good and highest timeline for all, in service to the all as the one, right? Because when, you know, if your value system is all fucked up, which it is on planet Earth, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me at all, which is why I feel like I want to disengage, why I don't want to play anymore, why I don't consent, why I revoke consent. But it's a bit of a conundrum because I don't want to be in fear. I understand that the universe is abundant, but I need to have energy for that. I don't want to be manipulative. I mean, our entire system is structured on a marketing plan. Like if we said we had the office of Earth, so we've got head office Earth, and then we've got the marketing division of Earth. I mean, Jesus, it's that's exactly what it is. It just feels like everything is a marketing pitch to bypass your soul. So it's not conversation, it's not dialogue. It's like, I don't have time for that. I want to, like a little code, I want to move through that and get to the program. And the program is, what do you need? What are you missing? What can I feed off of from the woundings? What can I assist you with, dear brother or sister? Da, 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 da. But it's not assisting for longevity. It's what can I sell you? It's what can you buy from me? It's how can we exchange and then just abandon each other again. There's no longevity. There's no support. There's no real care. It's not a marketing strategy. It's not about care. There aren't even caring strategies in the health systems. It's still money-driven systems. It's money-driven systems. So, you know, when you move to review of your own business structure and your teaching style, you know, I'm in the middle of my 7-month container with my co-creators, the initiates, the students, the me's, you know, and I'm in this full dissolution where I'm like, and I knew this is precisely why I created it over 7 months, so that we can all feel the fall, the dissolution, the darkness, the shadow. But it's intense. And each year I'm like, oh my God, why do I create this? Why? Because it feels like the most authentic way to be, to learn about one another, with one another, to support each other, to have a length of time that we commit to one another, and not just be like, you know, a sausage factory there of just, you know, creating courses and amazing marketing strategies and just like being like, yeah, got 100,000 sales. Like, I mean, I would love, I mean, I think about it like I'm going to be opening up a Substack, and already I'm like, oh God, give me strength. And again, God is me, right? Because I cannot abandon myself. And I remember one of my spiritual teachers in the past, we had a big fallout, as often happens, right? She was going through or sharing for one of my podcasts, we were speaking about, you know, times of suicidal ideation, etc., which I think is very big, likely, and possible, and holds a big chunk of the collective field at this point in time. So it's very important to be aware of that, right? But we were speaking about this, and I said to her, you know, what is it that happened? And she said she was on her knees going, God, why have you forsaken me? And the answer in reply was, why have you abandoned yourself? Right? And I always think of that, where it's like, so I said, I want to start the Substack, and it's like, well, I just need 1,000 followers to pay $1 each, and I would have $1,000 in my account each month. I don't necessarily need more. That's enough. But how do I get the 1,000? What parts of my soul do I need to sell to get the 1,000 viewers? How much trust in my frequency do I need to have? In my content do I need to have? In the God code allowing some sort of stream of energy through for others to receive me? Am I, so we've got the imposter syndrome again. Am I enough? Is this video even worth something? Am I actually making any sense? Or do you just want the 8-week mastermind course to multidimensional magic? Do you want the 3-day mycelial mushroom retreat package to to mushroom bliss, along with microdose and to forever solve your issues around XYZ? Do you need the online 7-month Azurite temple, pre-recorded, doing at your own time, etc., etc.? What is that ticking within you? So it's like, yes, I could create my Azurite temple, which is a 7-month creation container for online purchase, but I would be missing out on the absolute interactive nature of what feels human, what feels like a proper resonant and coherent field of connection, what feels like actual support system with one another. And even, I say with one another, I'm saying online, but that to me right now is what I've got. Like my brothers and sisters online with me, where I can watch and feel and get off the call and be like, whew, that was a hardcore space. I can feel a lot of people in shadow, rather than putting the course out there and being like, oh, okay, cool, amazing. Like 50 people have bought my package. Yay, I'm financially secure for XYZ amounts of time. I'm hoping they send feedback, but actually I'm really just in the identity and role right now of online marketer, loving it, money's coming in, love what I do, loved creating the workshop. Yes, of course, that's my passion power, but we are disconnected from each other more and more and more the more we take on this role of marketer, content creator. And this is what I guess, and I hope that these videos are communicating, is, are we going to get to a point, and like I said, I need to go deep into this and say, am I being childish? Do I need to put my big girl panties on and just get on with it and continue in this entrepreneurial flair that I've always had since a schoolgirl, to continue to stand and create like that in the model that is accessible to me now? So through content creation, through online courses, knowing that it is helping, even though you are not physically or connected in an online space for you to really be able to hold and support. So be it. You've got to look after yourself, and that's that, because nobody else is going to do it for you. So these are the decisions that we have to weigh up. Do I have enough energy for that? Do I feel authentic in doing that? Because otherwise there's no point. And again, which part of the things that I am doing in my doingness, in my masculine, are coming from the wound? And this is where I'm at, is like, I see that a lot of what I've done has been coming from the wound. I see that the entire structure is built and designed upon that. I see that it is weaponized. The wound is weaponized. The dangling carrot of say hope of a better future is always there through, let's say, divine feminine embodiment workshops that are going to reinstitute and reignite the holy divine feminine. But if the feminine is a container, all she does is sit, all she does is hold. There's not much doing there. And I mean, for fuck's sakes, we have been cycling around eons of time doing. I am tired. How do I really embrace my true femininity? And part of it is, I think, very, very deeply and intrinsically linked to authenticity. And so again, this is why I say, I hope that this video is listened to. I'm curious how far you get. I'm curious as to if this is assisting you in any way, shape, or form, or if I'm just in some, like I said, delusionary, wounded projection of my own making here. Because let me have a check-in here. What do I believe this level of video is assisting with? As I said, into the record, it instills and anchors authentic expression. It instills and anchors bravery without structure. So the structure is, I'm just here having this conversation. I'm tired of linking it to a product and a service that you have to buy to keep me going, so that I can fucking breathe and stay alive. I'm tired of playing that game, because if I really trust in God, then I need to trust in the evolutionary process of God, of the almighty and power. It's like the Matrix movies, like when Neo just, I don't know, when he's flying through bullets and he's become one. Is this the goal? Is this the fucking goal? Like, we're here. We're at that point in the timeline. I don't know. That's how I feel. I just want to surrender all swords, surrender all strategies, unless they're coming from an absolute place of passion, desire, authentic expression, not out of desperation, not out of need, not out of fear, not out of the wound. And this is why I say, this wound that I'm clearing now is big. And I don't know if I'm going to fully succeed, but I trust that any, this is how I'm an eternal being. So if I'm unable to complete it now, does anything ever move through completion? Because there's just more and more data, but like, just to have the trust in, can I sit in the darkness of the descension under the thickness of the humus of the darkness of earth right now? Can I sit in the pain? Can I feel the levels of grief that are about to come? I've already been moving through it, but it's really actually been more, let's say, I want to say ego construct grief, which it doesn't invalidate it. It doesn't invalidate the value of that grief. I see, said the blind man, Anyway, there is a deeper conversation that I'll have on the next video around relationship. I've been through a very interesting experience of late, and I've learned so much, and it's why this wound has come up for me. And again, the parts of me that are embarrassed to be human, the parts of me that are feel courageous and brave for even stepping into the experience, speaking about the experience. But I want to chat and again, it's all got to do with identities. It's all got to do with identities. It's all got to do with safety. It's all got to do with the nervous system. It's all got to do with the wounds. And I look forward to sharing this next video, because I'm going to be speaking about identities again, sub-personalities that we take on in order to protect ourselves through coping mechanisms. And I'll be speaking very specifically to aspects around mild psychopathy. So, and let's say the distinctions and differences between psychopathy and narcissism versus mastery. So this will be my next video topic, guys. Please feel free to like, subscribe, leave comments if you got this far. Thank you for your time, and I'm sending so much love. Ciao.